Welcome, Boy Scouts, Troop 345. This is the Emergency Preparedness Merit Badge course. This is the introductory video to the video series that we're going to have, which is going to go through all the material for you to be able to complete your merit badge. That's Preparedness or Prep. What we're going to do is cover content that is in this book. This is the pamphlet that Boy Scouts of America puts out. And going through this content, you'll be able to fill out your workbook. This is not the workbook that you generally find online. I have modified it and we've changed the order a little bit to fit our needs, specifically for Troop 345. What we will do is learn all the material in this book so that you will be ready to act in the event of an emergency, to be able to serve, that you'll be prepared for this, you'll have skills that you develop. In this introductory video, we're just going to go through a bit about emergencies in general, and then we'll go through the pages of the worksheet. You'll be able to get the information to fill it out. Emergencies in general, an emergency is defined as something that is fairly sudden, it's unexpected, it's dangerous to the people that are involved, there's potential for injury, there often is injury, there's usually a lot of fear, and it requires action. It requires somebody to do something often in order to mitigate the injury of the people that are involved, whether that's one person or a community of people, a group of people. It can be in a large number of people at one time or one or two people off in the remote area. The emergencies that we're going to be talking about, we can break up into a few kinds. There's the natural disasters. These are things that are caused by weather. Includes tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, flooding, ice storms. Then there are man-made accidents. So these are technological machine accidents. Those include car accidents, fires, explosions, workplace injuries, bicycle injuries, things that we've caused by some of the stuff that we do. Then there's a third category, which Homeland Security is, and at a national level interested in, are disasters related to intentional man-made disasters, which would include arson, types of fires, or terrorism attacks. We need, as Boy Scouts, to be prepared to act and to serve in any one of these situations. And when we go through this whole course, by the end of it, you'll have the sense of preparedness, some of the skills available to you, so that no matter what setting this is, you'll be able to lead and to serve in a way that has a positive effect on the people who were victimized by this emergency. As a scout, you've gone through a fair amount of this before, in that the motto of be prepared is central to the Boy Scout experience. You started with some of this as a Weeblo. I don't know how many of you remember when you did your Ready Man activity badge, but in that you learned some skills, you learned how to start to be aware of emergencies and how to respond to them. And one of the key things that you learned, if you can remember, is that in order to respond, you have to have courage to act. And not everybody does that. That's not a natural thing. In fact, when an emergency happens or a disaster happens, often people panic. They're very afraid. They'll run. Sometimes people will stand there and do nothing. They'll become victimized by themselves because they don't know what to do. They are not mentally prepared to act. As a Boy Scout, we're ready to not only to act ourselves, but to lead. And I call this the the if it's going to be, it's up to me concept. Many times when something happens, people look around and they say, somebody needs to do something. That somebody is going to be you, the Boy Scout, when it happens when you're around. We talked a bit about courage, and we spent a lot of time in that in Weeblos, and they had a 4-point, four words to remember when you had events that required you to act in courage, which I still like. That's to be strong, to be calm, to be clear, and to be careful. So you first need to be strong enough to act, you need to be clear-minded, and you need to be careful that you're not going to go out and run into a situation where you're going to end up hurting yourself and not be able to respond to the situation. In the First Aid Merit Badge, which is the first part of this, in order to be able to complete your Emergency Preparedness Merit Badge, you have to have first aid. Many of you already have it. You don't have to do first aid first, but it has to be completed before getting your merit badge. But in first aid, you learned some of the skills. You learned what to do. You learned how to act, how to apply first aid, and you started to develop some of your skills. Now what we're going to do is put that all together, what you've been learning as a Cub Scout and a earlier Boy Scout, and we're going to help you to understand in a bigger concept, no matter what happens, how can I be the one that helps to address the emergency? How can I be the one that leads through the emergency, directs other people to do the right thing, save people, prevent further injury from happening? How can I be prepared for these emergencies? And we're going to go through that step by step. The next video is going to be about pages 1 and 2, where we learn specifically about the words, which is to prepare, to be prepared, to act in the emergency, how to recover from the emergency, and how to mitigate.